Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. Hi, I'm Bobby and welcome to Dusty Old Movies. I'm going to try to make this a good video, but today things might get a little hairy. I used to watch The Wolfman over and over again as a kid, and I even got to see it in theaters a few years ago. I always found it to be one of the most entertaining of the Universal monster movies, but upon rewatching, I also find the Wolfman to be the most human of all the monsters. With the success of The Son of Frankenstein, Universal Studios was back in the horror game, and were rebooting several of their old horror properties, like The Mummy, The Invisible Man, and The Werewolf. In 1935, Universal had produced The Unsuccessful Werewolf of London, and they also had this old script intended for Boris Karloff lying around, called The Wolfman, and they gave this title to their new horror writer, Kurt Siodmak. Kurt Siodmak was a science fiction writer and a German Jew who had escaped from Nazi Germany. And along with extensively researching werewolf mythology, he also used several of his experiences in Nazi Germany as inspiration for the Wolfman script, such as the idea that you're living an ordinary life and then all of a sudden your whole world turns upside down, which he used to call the Wolfman fate. And he used the idea of a star marking someone for death. Jewish people had to wear the Star of David on their clothes to indicate that they were Jewish. And the Wolfman sees the sign of the pentagram in their next victim. When it came time to casting the Wolfman, Universal went with a new and young horror star, the son of their greatest silent film star Lon Chaney, the 6'2", strapping, and all-American Lon Chaney Jr. Larry Talbot has been working in America for 18 years, but has returned home to Talbot Castle after the death of his older brother. Being a bit of a wolf, he sets his sights on the engaged Gwen Conliffe. Larry, Gwen, and another girl, Jenny, go to the gypsy camp to have their fortunes told. Unfortunately, the fortune teller Bela turns into a werewolf, kills Jenny, and bites Larry. Larry kills the wolf, but is now infected with the werewolf curse and forced to kill. Bela's mother, Mileva, warns Larry about the curse. Frightened, Larry turns to his father, Sir John, for help. But Sir John believes it is only his nerves, and joins the other villagers in the hunt for the murdering wolf. The Wolfman has many of the great elements in Universal horror, but with one major difference: the hero and the villain are the same character. Many of the classic horror films had trouble creating interesting male leads. Jonathan Harker. But Larry Talbot really works. He's a macho, he's funny when he flirts with girls. Hey sexy, will you pet me? And we really like him. But then he gets bitten by the wolf and is going to become a monster. And a large part of the film deals with his anxiety over what's happening to him, while everyone thinks he's crazy. I've got to go. I can't stay here any longer. You wouldn't want to run away with a murderer. I killed Bela. I killed Richardson. I stay around much longer. Who can tell who's going to be next? So a lot of the conflict is internal, which is not only more interesting, but also more frightening, because he's going to become a killer, but can't help it. Oddly enough, the original plan for the Wolfman was it was going to be all psychological, and he didn't know if he was really a werewolf or not. But then a few weeks before production, Universal said, no, we want a monster, which is part of the fun. But those psychological aspects are still strongly in the script, and help make the Wolfman a standout, as does its impressive cast.
By the light of the silvery moon, I want to spoon to my honey, I'll croon love.
Universal was extremely proud of this cast. In fact, the opening credits is made up of brief clips of all the actors. And the main star is Lon Chaney Jr. as Larry Talbot, aka the Wolfman! Lon is a likable and relatable everyman, and so much of him shines through in the part Larry Talbot. His father, Sir John, is the dominant force in town, just like Lon Chaney Sr. Lon wasn't exactly the most mature guy around, and they treat Larry like he's in his 20s. By the way, speaking of people being immature, have you seen my Dracula action figure? Also, Lon had a dark side. So did Larry, and is personified as the wolf. Lon gives such a natural performance and is the soul of the movie, but giving it prestige is Claude Rains as Sir John Talbot. While he got his start in Universal Horror, Claude Rains is one of the best supporting actors in Hollywood, and he gives the film weight and an emotional reality with his performance. He's intelligent and proper, but he loves his son and is protective of him. But, like many fathers, he lets his pride run away with him, and instead of listening to the doctor or Larry, he just expects Larry to tough it out by himself. Dad, you're staying with me, aren't you? No, I've got to go, Larry. These people have a problem. You must make your own fight, but we'll settle this tonight. While Claude is the father figure, is Maria Upsinskaya as Mileva as the mother figure. She's the gypsy mother of Bela, and she tries to help and protect Larry from the werewolf curse. Take this, the pentagram, the sign of the werewolf. It can break the evil spell. Evil spell, pentagram, wolfbane. I'm sick and tired of the whole thing. Whoever is bitten by a werewolf and lives becomes a werewolf himself. Mileva is this wise old woman, and she's protective of Larry, but at the same time, there's also this disdain in her voice. Bela would turn Larry into a werewolf, so in a sense, Mileva is responsible for him. But at the same time, even though Bela was in wolf form, Larry killed her son, her little boy, her hairy little boy. So she would feel a dislike or even hatred for him. And Maria Upsinskaya plays both of those feelings simultaneously and does it very well. And speaking of Bela Lugosi has a small role as Bela the Gypsy. Bela the Gypsy. Bela the Gypsy. Now, how did Kurt Seelmach come up with that name? The thing I like about his casting is that we know he's a scary guy, and he exhibits those horror star qualities of charisma, intensity, and tragedy, so it's easy to immediately suspend our disbelief and accept him as a werewolf. The characters and their relationships give the film real human drama, but making things creepy is the film's treatment of werewolves. The film handles werewolves in a believable way, which makes it spooky and suspenseful. The town where it's set in is knee-deep in werewolf mythology, and they say that werewolf poem like it's going out of style. Gwen even sells Larry a werewolf cane, and this creates an atmosphere where werewolves are believable. In addition, Sir John and Dr. Lloyd give scientific explanations for werewolves. Science has found many examples of the mind's power over the body. Case of the stigmata appearing in the skin of Zealous. It makes sense enough for me, at least for an hour and 10 minutes. And it gives werewolves a logical believability. Now, the first werewolf scene is with Bela, but it's done ambiguously. You don't actually see him transform, and they just use Musa Dog as the wolf, so there's a mysterious quality to it. So it isn't until a lot of build-up to where we're completely invested in the story, where Lon Chaney Jr. transforms into a werewolf. It's a great moment, and makeup artist Jack Pierce took certain wolf qualities and combined them with what worked well with Lon Chaney Jr.'s face to create something unique, haunting, and memorable, and Lon really gets into it. Those scenes where he's attacking are so atmospheric and spooky, and provide a great payoff to all the excellent character stuff done in the film. The Wolfman was a huge hit, and it has gone on to influence countless werewolf films. Lon Chaney Jr. would go on to play the Wolfman in 4 more Universal horror films, and was so proud of it, he would refer to the role as his baby. Moose the dog, who played the werewolf version of Bela Lugosi, also had a happy ending. Lon Chaney Jr. fell in love with him, bought him, and took him home with him. The Wolfman is an excellent classic horror film, and as far as Universal horror goes, I think it's one of the easiest ones to get into, and I give it 4 chest hairs out of 4. Thank you for watching Dusty Old Movies, and have a fabulously fuzzy day.